What's going on? We are going to talk about some Cummins connecting rods today. Just figured this would be a cool little informational video showing side-by-side comparisons of different connecting rods throughout different generations, from a second gen 12 valve, 24 valve, Brazilian, Mexican, I think England and Chinese rod. I can't remember if they had a US rod or not. A common rail rod, which is cracked cap rods, and a high-end billet rod, which is a D&J rod. So I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison. I have them all laid out next to each other. So let's get into it. So my garage is my workbench, my toolbox, all that is full right now. I got a lot of shit going on. Got an engine going together there. Truck tour part here, transmission, another block, head, parts, truck, motorcycle. Anyways, so I figured this would be cool. So this is a 12 valve rod. It's a Mexico rod, and this has ARP bolts in it. So this was just resized. So anytime you put ARP bolts or any other type of bolt in there that is an aftermarket bolt that's stronger than an OEM one, it has a tighter clamping force, could distort the shape, can make this tighter. So basically just to make sure it is machined to the correct size for your crankshaft, so it doesn't get too tight, so you maintain the correct clearance. So 12 valve rod, Mexican rod, ARP bolts. I think if I remember correctly, these are 12 mil. These are 12 mil bolts. You can see the tangs are offset. The tangs for the bearings are offset. This is an 0304 common rail rod. As you can see, there is a different part number between these two. Otherwise, very similar rods. Like I said, they are the cracked cap rods. So as you can see where it is broken right there, you literally cannot mix and match these connecting rod caps. So each one is unique to that specific connecting rod. As you can see there, this line's pretty much, well, it's loose. This line's pretty much straight across. This one in the middle, there's a little divot. Very, very similar between these two rods. Honestly, as long as you have a whole set, you could probably mix and match these with no problems. I really don't see any difference in them other than a part number. Could be where they're manufactured. I think that says Mexico there. And this is a late 5.9 rod. This is an 04 and up, 04 and a half to 07 connecting rod. This one specifically came out of an 07. This came out of an 0304 engine. This one came out of an engine with spun bearings. And as you can see, the tangs are not offset. The tangs are not offset on the common rail bearings. So anytime you're doing a 12 valve rod and a common rail block, you're going to have to use 12 valve rod bearings, because common rails will not physically work. And again, these are 12 mil bolts in these. Depending on the rod, depending on the engine, some of them blind hole face the camshafts, some of them face away. And here we have a D&J X-Beam billet rod. As you can see, this is a stock length rod. As you can see, it is, I'll put it in the middle of the 12 valve and the common rail rod. It is just overall much thicker, beefier rod all the way around. This rod has been shot peened and balanced, and these are just stock rods here. So I don't really know what the horsepower limit is on these, on 12 valve rods that are shot, peen, and balance. I think I've seen people advertise online like 1200 or 1000 horsepower. Shot peening basically de-stresses them. Another difference on these rods here. So these are cracked cap. You cannot mix and match them. And they, for the most part, stay in place once they're clamped together. Because of that, 12-valve rods. Quick, take this apart. A 12-valve rod. It's machined here. It's machined surfaces. So in theory, a 12-valve rod under heavy load, it could, under heavy load, horsepower, whatever. In theory, not that I don't know if anyone's ever really seen it happen. The cap could, move back and forth, where it has less chance of doing that on a cracked capped rod because of its fitting only one way. And let's look at, oh, by the way, if you haven't noticed, the bolt heads on the D&J rod are much, much larger. The bolt itself is also much larger. This is a 9/16 bolt head. So yeah, it's the same size as like your head stud bolt heads. As you can see, that rod bolt is much larger, 9/16 to a 12 mil. As you can see, that bolt is much larger from the D&J rod to the 12-valve rod, or OEM size. Another thing with D&J is they use all standard sizes. So I know these are 9/16. I didn't have a 9/16 12-point socket, so I actually ended up using a 14 mil to get these off. 14 mil 12-point. So you can see I'm having a hard time just getting this cap off. Not because it's not made right. It's made in a way that this cap cannot move at all, cannot shift forward and backward, it cannot shift side to side. As you can see, these are machined and have an angle on them to where they fit tightly inside the rod and have no way, shape, or form of wandering. And as you can see there's actually a hole in the rod. So you have to get specific main bearings, connecting rod bearings for these connecting rods, the D&J rods. There's an oiling hole up here in the wrist pin bore, or in the wrist pin bushing in the rod. So these actually use, D&J makes these rod bearings. This is a Molle Cleveite H-series rod bearing, and they pre-drill a hole in it, and that hole lines up perfectly with that. Don't mind me trying to do this with one hand. Anyways, you get the point. That bearing, there we go. That bearing lines up with that hole in the rod to provide additional lubrication up at the wrist pin. I'll shine a light through here. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Actually, yeah, you can see it. You can see it on the top of the wrist pin bushing. So overall, just I don't know if they even have a horsepower rating on these connecting rods, because I think these rods are in engines that are, 3,500, 4,000 horsepower. I don't know if these are the same rods that are in Josh McCormick's truck, but I know there's plenty of trucks out there that are over 3,000 horsepower with D&J rods in them. So I don't know if they actually have a rating on these. Stock common rail rods, don't know what. I mean, I've seen people make 1,000 horsepower on them. Would I recommend it? No. I would much rather see someone do a 12-valve rod that's been shot, peened, and balanced over a cast crack cap rod. However, if it's in your budget and depending what your build is, what you're doing with your build, D&J rod Don't think you're going to break it. Don't think you're going to have any sort of issues unless it was not assembled correctly. Oh, and another thing with the D&J rod, they use a 12 valve style bearing as well. The tangs are offset of each other. I don't know if I can pop this out real quick. So on the D&J rods, it's the same as a 12 valve as far as rod bearing style. The tangs are offset of each other, always on the same side though. I have that cap off. But as you can see there, the tangs are offset. So I just figured I would show difference between an okay rod, a better rod, and the best rod, or one of the best. I know there's plenty of other companies out there that make very high-end rods. The set of stock length D&J rods, I believe, run right around $3,600. $3,650 maybe, and I think their 1 inch longer rods are, I don't know, like $50 to $100 more. You can pick up a good set of used 12 valve connecting rods online. On eBay, I've seen them anywhere from like $150 to $500 a set. Just make sure that there's pictures of all the rods, all the part numbers match on them. You don't want to mix and match part numbers and or the place in which they were manufactured. So just make sure they're a matching set. If you put rod bolts in, make sure you have them resized. Just take them to a machine shop and tell them, hey, I put these aftermarket bolts in, and have them resize it. So yeah, I just figured that'd be a cool video to make. Show you differences in the size of the hardware and the styles of the connecting rod bearings and the additional oiling hole that they have in this rod. So there you go. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, these are Moly Cleveite H-series bearings that D&J makes specifically. Or they don't make them, but they modify them for these rods specifically. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully that was helpful to you guys. Hopefully you got something out of that. If not, hopefully it was at least entertaining. I'm going to finish getting this engine together here. Got total seal rings over there, pistons. I'm ready to put them on the rods. Those are 12 valve rods, so it's going to be blind hole to the camshaft. I got new camshaft bushings in here. Did not have it bored, and did not have the cam tunnel bored out and bushings in each journal. Just standard common rail front and back. 12 valves are just a bushing in the front and just a machine surface throughout the rest of the tunnel. So yeah, there you go. See you guys later.